I'd like to ask David McKinstry if he would come up, because he shared something with me. You okay, David?
Oh, I'm all right. I shared just a wee thing with Lawrence maybe a few months ago, and then he asked me to have a think about it and even elaborate on it a wee bit. And well, really it was, as you probably all know, I live on a farm, or we live on a farm, and you know, a farm has seasons, it has different events that happen on it, and you know, at this time of the year you have all the fun things. You have the spring coming, you have the animals going out, you have calves being born, you have lambs being born, you know, and sometimes that brings lots of hard work as well, but in general this is a really good time of the year on the farm. There's also hard times on the farm, and I'm sure you'll all be aware that for farmers at the moment everybody is, you know, worried about financial pressures ahead, even this year. And then at other times on the farm there's anxious times, and one of those times is when there's a storm ahead, or maybe in the forecast. And I suppose things have changed a wee bit this past couple of years. Any time that there's a windy day forecast, we've got it's given a name, isn't that right? So that's Storm Eunice. Here, my mum's called Eunice, so we had a lot of fun around that, telling her that she was coming in like a storm and all the rest. But and that's because storms can cause damage. They can blow off roofs. You get rubbish all around the place. You can get trees blown over, and you can get branches broken off, and then after that, don't you have to go about and get all that damage all cleared up? And it's probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. There was a big storm came and hit Northern Ireland, and I remember after that out through the fields and just gathering up all the debris, gathering up the branches, and all, you know, there's leaves and twigs, and then you have big branches and wee branches, and as I was going about, I just, you know, was asking God, what is, like, because whenever I'd be out on the farm and through the fields and all, there's a whole lot of times I'd be doing things, and I'm like, you know, what's the lesson in this for me, you know? And so I was just asking, you know, God, what is the lesson in this, you know, for me? And it was really, you know, after a storm, there can be a lot of damage done, there can be carnage, and a lot of that needs to be gathered in. And you know, I suppose at that time I was even thinking about, you know, storms can hit you personally, they can hit a church or a fellowship, or you know, even if you're meeting in a group for prayer or anything like that, storms can hit those things. And there has to be a gathering in then of the mess that can be left behind, or the debris. And you might wonder why I have some branches with me, because obviously we had Storm Eunice a few weeks back, and I have been out through the fields gathering in all the bits and pieces, and I just want to show you a couple of things that we have, you know, just different branches, okay? Just different branches, and really, you know, to me that represents, you know, different people, and you know, we have, you know, you have big branches, you have big characters, you know, and you have smaller branches, and you know, you have just all different types of branches. Now, whenever a storm hits, if it hits, take it a fellowship, a church group or whatever, or a fellowship, people can get hurt. People can drift away. People can feel that nobody cares. But I know that God cares. And, sometimes there needs to be a gathering of the branches again, doesn't there? We need to look out for people who have been blown off track. It's also fair to say, that some people, they don't actually want to be gathered again, and that's up to them, that's okay. But there's others who do, and they're just waiting to be let know that somebody cares for them. And the gathering in can be hard work. I know from, it takes time, it takes determination. You're going about, you have all the different fields, you have to walk all the hedges, you have to do the gathering. It takes the right attitude, okay? It takes the right attitude from those who are doing the gathering. So you have to be you need to be able to encourage people. You need to help people where help is required, but it also takes the right attitude from those that need the help. A receiving heart, just to receive the help. And I believe that it is God's heart. Like you take a look at the Good Shepherd, and the shepherd that was looking after the sheep, he went out to look for the one sheep that was left. The parable of the lost coin, went out looking for the last coin. And really, isn't it God's heart that none should be lost?
That's right.
And then I was thinking about, what did Jesus do when the storm was raging? And I just want to read Mark 4 verse 39. And it says, and he arose and rebuked the wind. So this is whenever he was in the boat, and the storm came. And it says, he arose and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. Jesus rebuked the wind. He said to the sea, peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. I just want to say that, as well, that sometimes the storm can hit you personally. There can be storms in our lives. We can be hit by big trials. We can be knocked for six. It could be a health issue. It could be a financial issue. It could be a relationship issue. There's many things where storms can hit our lives. We need to have a firm foundation. And taking that verse, I would say, let the peace of God bring a great calm to any of the storms in your life. And I also then thought on John 15. Abide in me and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself except it abide in the vine. No more can ye except ye abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. And then this is a challenge, verse 6, that I probably hadn't maybe really seen before, because whenever I think of the vine, those two verses that I've just read are probably the two are the things that I think of. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. And if we look at the different branches, that's the one there that got blown off in the storm. It didn't, like, this one got blown off a few weeks ago, but this is one that got blown off in a storm months ago. And look at it, it's withered. And that branch there, obviously, like, people know what a tree is, but like the goodness for the branch comes from the tree. And isn't Jesus the tree or the vine, and we're the branches, and once it gets cut off from its life source, it ends up withering up. But what does abide mean? Abide means to live, to dwell, or have your dwelling, even to accept without objection. And not abiding, then, and Jesus can lead to being withered up, no fruit, barren, of no effect. So it's really so important to abide in Jesus, and I want to compare that then to what it's like for the tree planted by the living water. And just two wee passages. Jeremiah 17. I'll actually read 5 to 8, okay? Because 5 and 6 compared to 7 and 8 it's like just opposites. But 5 and 6 says, Thus saith the Lord, Cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from the Lord. For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, and a salt land, and not inhabited. Basically, withered up. But blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, and whose hope the Lord is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see what heat cometh, but her leaf shall be green. Her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. And then just Psalm 1 verse 3. And he shall be, I'll read verses 1 to 3. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. And I know I've probably elaborated a wee bit more than my initial thoughts, but isn't it just some comparison, the difference between not abiding in Jesus and being left withered and of no effect, compared to being planted by the living water and having fruit in your life and being of much effect.
Yes.
And I always like to leave on a positive note. So look, I'd encourage everybody to be planted, be like a tree planted by the living water.